A developing story. The Justice Department filed charges Monday against a Democratic member of Congress, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver of New Jersey. DOJ is accusing her now of assaulting and interfering with law enforcement during a confrontation with Homeland Security officers outside an ICE detention center in Newark earlier this month. You're seeing video that we've played before of the moments of the chaos that ensued. The situation first grabbed attention when the mayor of Newark, New Jersey, was arrested on grounds of federal trespassing. That charge has since been dropped. The mayor was on CNN with Abby Phillip last night and spoke about all of this. Listen to this.
I didn't see any of the things that were stated. I didn't see any of those things happen. So I think that the Congresswoman will be vindicated. And the videos are clear. Everybody can see those videos. They'll see the whole thing, and it'll be clear to me, and it'll be clear to her in court.
Speaking up in defense of the Congresswoman, joining me right now is the Congresswoman at the center of this, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver. Thank you, Congresswoman, for being here. The charge is specifically for assaulting, impeding, or interfering with law enforcement. What is your reaction to this charge?
First of all, thank you so much, Kate, for having me, for allowing me to come on for a few seconds today. I think the charges are absurd. You know, it's ridiculous. I was there to do my job along with my other colleagues. We have done this before. This is our obligation to do. It's in our job description to have oversight over a facility, and the entire situation was escalated by ICE. They caused the confrontation. Homeland came and, caused this chaos that we see. It was a very tense situation, but it could have been, easily it could have easily not happened. They had every opportunity to not allow this to happen. It was very unnecessary, and it just, once again, we were there to do our jobs. And if I'm going to be charged with a crime for doing my job, it just speaks to where we're headed in this country and what we're dealing with as leaders and as Congress members, here in this country.
Congresswoman, just specifically on the issue at hand, with now that you're facing this charge, I mean, what is the plan today? I mean, are you turning yourself in, or showing up in court? I mean, what is your understanding of what happens now?
So we are still trying to get more information on what the next steps are. My attorneys are in contact with the federal courts in New Jersey and Newark, New Jersey. So we're just waiting on direction. For now, it's business as usual. I'm going to do my job. This week, we all know that Republicans are trying to take away Medicaid and important funding to services that impact the over 800,000 people that I represent in New Jersey and across this nation. And so I'm going to do my job, Kate. That's why I was elected, why the people from New Jersey sent me here. So it's a full day of work for me here on the Capitol.
We've just
on Capitol Hill, excuse me.
No, of course, we were just covering it as President Trump is heading into a big meeting with Republicans on this exact issue. CNN has some reporting from sources that you and the Justice Department had attempted to negotiate a plea deal of some kind. Acting U.S. Attorney Alina Habba, though, said on Monday that you declined the department's attempts to, quote, come to a resolution. Can you speak to that? I mean, are you open to having a discussion with the Justice Department to resolve this outside of the courtroom at this point?
Well, the Justice Department and Alina Habba wanted me to admit to doing something that I did not do, and I was not going to do that. Once again, I came there to do my job and conduct an oversight visit, and they wanted me to say something differently, and I'm not doing that. I'm not going to roll over and stop doing my job because they, don't want me to, or they want to neglect the fact that we needed to be in there to see what was going on in that detention center. And so, absolutely, no, I was not going to do that. And I think I'm open. I've always been open to having conversations. We have to have good government. We have to be able to conduct ourselves and be professionals, in this work. This is what the folks that I represent expect for me to do. And so definitely always open to conversations, but I'm not going to admit to something that I did not do. And no one's going to stop me for serving the people in New Jersey, because that's what they expect for me to do.
Congresswoman, earlier in the show, Republican Congressman Warren Davidson was on with my colleague John Berman, and John asked him about the charge that you're now facing. He said he wasn't entirely sure of everything involved in the case or the charge, but he did say this. I want to play this for you.
So anytime, one party goes after another, it's viewed as political. But I think the principle has to be that no one really is above the law. I hope they work it out. And, I hope we resolve things in a place that's rational. I mean, it seems crazy to me that you've got members of Congress and some of the public, but not much, certainly not in my district, defending MS-13 gang members. I mean, they're not here legally. I think the mandate in this election is they need to leave.
Just wondering, as you can respond to the congressman there, but also having time and space to think about what happened on that day and reflect on it, would you have done anything differently?
No, I would not have. Once again, we showed up there to do a job, Kate. We were there for an oversight visit. We have done this before. Me, Congresswoman Bonnie Watson Coleman, and Congressman Rob Menendez was just at a facility just a couple of weeks ago, not too far from this location, where we had an oversight visit, and we were a little bit delayed, but not, confronted or was in the middle of a chaos to do so. I think, number one, we have an obligation to do so. We have to show up and do our jobs. And at the end of the day, the reason why we were there is because we wanted to make sure this facility was up to par, that it was clean, that it was safe, and that the detainees there were, given due process, that they were able to use the phone, that they were able to speak to their legal representation, which we found out was not happening. But that was our reason. So despite, what Republicans are saying, about us, trying to break people out of jail, that's untrue. We were not there to do that. We were there to conduct an oversight visit, which after all of this, the chaos, Kate, they gave us a tour. We were all of this, we broke in, we assaulted people, all of these things that, HABA is saying and Republicans are saying, but they gave us a tour and allowed us to go in and tour the facility and speak to detainees. So, I would not have done anything different because, once again, the people that I represent expect from me to do my job, and that is exactly what I plan on doing, and that is what I was doing that day at Delaney Hall.
Congresswoman, you are now facing a federal charge, though. Are you afraid of what's going to transpire now?
I mean, it's super unfortunate, Kate, that we have come to this point, in America, that this is what we see happening to leaders who are trying to do their jobs. Rather, it's the mayor of the largest city, rather it's a judge. We've seen this administration come after and attack, leaders for doing their jobs. It's political intimidation, and I will not be intimidated. I expect to continue to do my job. Once again, very unfortunate situation. I did not think when I came to Congress in September that I would be, dealing with something like this, or dealing with being charged with anything. But once again, I am committed to doing my job for the people that I represent, and I stick to that because those are the people who sent me here in Congress in the first place. So looking forward to continuing to work and dealing with the things that you've been talking about all morning, cuts, to very important services, to Medicaid, to Social Security, in my district, that's going to hurt my district. And so super highly focused on that, and will continue to do so because that's what people expect for me to do. And I want to deliver for the people that I represent.
Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, thank you for coming on. It was important to hear your first reaction to now this charge that came in just yesterday. Thank you for your time.